Those guys are called the flippers.
The flippers.
They're the guys who buy a watch from their local authorised dealer and it sells for above the RRP.
Where do you see the Pepsi at the moment?
I didn't really want to buy it in the first place, but my AD suggested if I buy this, I could potentially get something which I did actually want.
Which models recently have had the biggest price change?
If you came to us, you're saving probably £5,000 to £10,000 on a precious metal Rolex model.
Some Rolex models at the moment are worth less than the retail price. Has that affected the number of new 2024 pieces that you guys are being offered?
Simple answer to that, Harry, is yes, it has.
The pre-owned Rolex market is constantly moving, so I've sat down with Stuart from Watch Trader & Co. to discuss the most recent changes. So Stuart, just for those who don't know, can you give us a brief introduction to Watch Trader & Co. as a business and what you do on a daily basis?
Yeah, sure, Harry. How are you?
I'm very good. Thanks for asking.
Okay, so Watch Trader, if you are a first-time subscriber or viewer of our channel, we are pre-owned luxury watch boutique. We buy and sell luxury watches on a daily basis, fundamentally Rolex, but also the other Swiss brands included. And yeah, we have numerous inquiries every day to either buy or sell, mainly from the general public. So we'll buy and sell luxury pre-owned watches from the general public.
So somebody goes out, buys a watch brand new, they either want to sell it straight to you guys?
Those guys are called the flippers.
The flippers.
Yeah, so they're the guys who buy a watch from their local authorised dealer, and it's something which is sells for above the RRP, and yeah, they might potentially sell it to us. Then you have the watches, the pre-owned watches, which a guy maybe wants to part exchange, or a lady maybe wants to part exchange, whether it's brand new, pre-owned, in unworn condition or used condition, no matter what the year is, we'll buy or sell any luxury watch.
So we'll get straight into the first main question. Some Rolex models at the moment are worth less than the retail price if they were to be sold to a watch dealer.
Yes.
Has that affected the number of new 2024 pieces that you guys are being offered?
Yeah, well, the simple answer to that, Harry, is yes, it has, because you wouldn't expect to be selling something at a loss straight away. Unless there was something in it for you, whether it was you're receiving two watches, one was at a loss and you were keeping the other, and all the other was worth more. So
an example of that might be like you buy this white gold Submariner.
Yeah, so there
maybe down the line you'll get a GMT
so
Pepsi.
Potentially there might be a fishing hook with if you buy this watch from me for such and such amount, which is potentially a precious metal Rolex, for example, and yeah, you might potentially then further down the line or at the same time receive the steel sports watch which you dreamt about.
Yeah, and this is from an authorised dealer, of course.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and also you get on the occasion where people have bought something and for whatever reason, they've just changed their mind, and if it's past the return date from the store where they purchased it from, so they might look to sell something that way, or the circumstances have changed, or for whatever reason they've decided, or they've seen something on our website and I like the look of that, so let's see what deal can be done. I'm going to sell you my watch which I've never worn. I didn't really want to buy it in the first place, but my AD suggested if I buy this, I could potentially get something which I did actually want. That might be the case and it hasn't showed up, so they would come to us. We might have the watch that they actually do want to purchase and wear, and maybe there's a deal that can be done that way.
I mean, there's also the people who just are crazy about watches, right? Like, there's some customers that I'm genuinely surprised by. Every month they're looking for something new.
Yeah.
They've got one watch, they wear it, I don't know, they go to the golf course, people comment on it, and then the next month they're thinking, okay, what am I going to turn up with this time? So they're doing a change, aren't they?
100%. So buying and selling watches is definitely a people's-based business, and having that relationship with the customer, and it's a long journey, and like you say, there is a lot of clients out there that will change their watches as often as they might potentially change the socks. Yeah. Literally. And it might be a case they've worn it a few times, the friends and family have seen it, but then the next time they're going to be out at a social event, they've got something different on. Yeah.
I think it's a slippery slope once you get started with watches. I mean, obviously, it's an expensive hobby.
Yeah.
There's something about it once you start collecting.
Yeah,
you kind of want to try. Oh, should I go for a GMT Daytona? Should I try?
Most of these clients are pretty savvy as well. So we'll always try and offer the best deal, whether we're buying or selling or part exchanging. you know, again, it goes down to the customer relationship and keeping that client happy.
Yeah,
because it's a long term thing.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, at the moment, the watches that are still highly in demand that you would struggle to get at Rolex are things like your steel sports models. It's the usual, the GMTs, Daytonas, Submariners.
It's going to be the usual.
But these days, actually, even a Datejust 41 with a certain dial, you can't get that super quick, can you? It's still something you're going to have to wait for.
Most of the time, if somebody's walking into Rolex to buy a watch, they potentially are going to be offered something similar to what they want, maybe.
Yeah.
When they walk, but it's very rare that they're going to be offered the watch that they actually want to purchase.
If you go in, you want the mint green dial Datejust.
They maybe have something, a Datejust of some description.
Yeah.
Whether it's a 41 or a 36.
Yeah.
Whether it's a 36 with a diamond bezel and a diamond dial, etc., whatever it might be. And I would say that the wait time on some of these models may have reduced, maybe on the steel and gold Submariners, things like that. But yeah, 9 times out of 10, you're not walking out the door with the watch that you initially had an interest for.
But there are some models at the moment that are available, right? Like
everything's available. You need to come to Watch Trader.
There you go.
Available.
But something like a full yellow gold Sky Dweller, you could, if you wanted to buy that, and there's an AD that has one, you probably can get something like that. Yeah,
I'm sure if that was the watch that you wanted and you wanted it today, your local AD didn't have it, maybe they're a chain. Mm-hmm. Maybe within the business that had it, or you called, you picked up the phone to a few, potentially you could pick up that watch. But if you came to us, you're saving probably £5,000 to £10,000 on a precious metal Rolex model.
Yeah, you could buy that same watch, but the market value is a lot lower than the retail value.
For example, we sold today a Rolex Sky Dweller, full yellow gold,
right,
which has a RRP of 34,800.
Right.
And we sold that watch out of the door for 37,000. So a saving of £6,800.
Straight away.
Madness.
For an unworn watch.
For an unworn watch. Then again, if you look for something pre-owned, if you just take that model, for example, if you went to the previous generation, the 3.2, that watch can be picked up from 30,000.
Yeah.
So over £10,000 difference in value.
It's funny, isn't it? Like with new watches, there is a demand for a fresh 2024 watch.
There is.
But the savvy shopper might look to, again, like you say, the previous model.
It's also cultures as well. So in the UK, it's not so much of an essential thing when you're purchasing a luxury watch for the watch to be brand new. Mm-hmm. In other cultures, it is. You'll find in Asia, China, them sort of places, the demand for unworn watches is a lot higher.
Yeah, and even fresh watches.
Yeah, and even if you look further afield, for example, in the States, there's not much difference in price. There's a small difference in price between a watch which has paperwork or a warranty card and a watch that doesn't have paperwork and a warranty card, where, as in England, you'll find there's quite a big spread between a pre-owned watch that is classed as naked, watch in a box or a watch only, than a watch that has a complete full set. The mindset's a little bit different. So different places.
It's funny, I've heard in Japan as well, a slightly different topic, but the quality of the pre-owned and vintage watches there is really good, just because in their culture, they look after their possessions so well. So if you're looking for like a specific, like a birth year watch or something like that, it's a really good place to look to get a good condition.
Or if you're going vintage watch shopping, then definitely, it's a culture thing.
Okay, so bringing it back to Watch Trader, what is the biggest sales volume price point wise? So is it watches that are around the 5K, 10K, 30K? Like what's selling the most at the moment?
So for me, my part of the business, I fundamentally concentrate on the higher price point watches. But as a business, we sell watches from the low end talking luxury, which may be a few £1,000s, right up to the hundreds of thousands. But in general, I would say the average price point, if I give it quite a large spread, I would say between 10 and 20,000.
Right. And again, that does include Submariners, GMTs,
Yeah, so
some Daytonas.
So for us, a watch trader, majority of our business will be Rolex related, but we do sell quite a lot of the other brands.
Yeah.
Pre-owned, Tudor, Cartier, Omega,
Yeah.
Breitling.
Well, Rolex have got by far the largest chunk of the brand new market, and that translates into the pre-owned market.
Rolex, the demand is always a lot stronger than the other brands, but the other brands still sell very, very well.
Actual model-wise, though, what were the best-selling watches of September?
So for us, we deal fundamentally with the public. And if we're talking brand new watches, it might be a case of whatever's been given to the Rolex ADs in the UK, then sold on to us by the so-called flippers or somebody who wants to sell the watch straight away. So that would depend. But for us, we get, we're talking hundreds of leads per week as a business of people looking to sell their watches, and we'll offer on everything, whether it's to buy the watch or to consign the watch, whatever it might be. So whatever we'll buy, we'll sell. So it can change on a monthly basis, but it'll be always the similar sort of things. Talking Rolex, it'll be the Submariner dates, non-dates. It'll be the Datejust 41s, probably the most popular selling Rolex model that we sell and buy at Watch Trader.
Yeah, so the reason I said September is just because to reflect on the previous month, to reflect on the kind of recent market conditions. But like you say,
but then you've got the new releases, so they'll always be hot and sought after. So you have the so-called the new GMT, which they call the Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
things like that. The Sprite's always very popular as well. So along those lines, the steel sports models. But anything which is priced correctly, we sell. We can always there's just so many watches which we can purchase every day. We don't have enough money to do so, but if we did, we would just purchase as much as possible, and everything which is priced correctly sells in today's market. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, to touch on one point that you said there, though, the kind of the way that some watches come through in waves, right? Like one week you might have 0 root beers in stock, and then the next week you might have 7 in stock, and it makes you think, okay, does this mean that the ADs have received a shipment around the country and root beers have been produced at Rolex, they've come over to the ADs, and then it means a lot of people have all got a call for that kind of same model at the same time, and a proportion of those are looking to sell them on. So yeah, it's funny how that works. I mean, it might not be true,
and it depends on the price that we're willing to pay for the watch at that time.
Yeah,
and we're not an algorithm. We don't use a computer to generate the prices that we're going to pay a client for a watch. It's something that the buying team will discuss multiple times per day, then review every day. Then we'll also meet every week and review the prices of certain models, because it's a constant, it's a market, so it constantly needs reviewed. And for example, if in September we'd sold 5 or 10 of one model, we might then say, okay, so let's try and focus on this and try and get more of this particular model into our business.
Yeah,
it's those sort of waves that we.
Sometimes that works well for you. Sometimes
it does.
Sometimes the trend changes a bit, and you think,
does.
hold on, how's that? It's quick, isn't it? But which models recently have had the biggest price change? So this could be up or down. Again, when I say recently, I'm talking about the previous couple of months. I'll start you off with the Bruce Wayne. That's a watch that came flying out the gate, as a lot of new releases do. I will say,
yeah, I think what did it sort over 20,000?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. At that sort of price point, it wasn't so which we were interested in touching, because we always knew it was gonna simmer down. And if a customer did ask for that watch because they wanted to be one of the first to have it on their wrist, we'd always make sure they would be aware of we would expect the watch to go down. But some people don't care.
No, they don't, and they want to be the first.
Exactly.
Yeah,
which is their preference. It's if you have the funds to do so, why not?
I do think the Bruce Wayne, I think that's settled down price-wise quicker than, say, the Sprite did when that came out. I don't know if it's because it's a little bit more subtle of a colour, and I think the difference between that and the previous kind of all-black GMT,
I think probably just
quite similar.
Probably just because in general that the hype around
the market's different,
the market
as well.
And the watch scene is reduced somewhat. So I think that'll probably just reflect on how fast it's came down and simmered in price, in my opinion.
It's interesting though, you can look at the Zombie, they call it, or the Guinness, it's the same watch, which is the steel and gold version, and you can pick that up for around the similar price.
Yeah,
so you're getting a much more expensive watch.
Retail.
yeah, retail wise, for a very similar price on the market. And I mean, personally, I do prefer the Guinness over the Bruce Wayne.
It's personal preference, and in people's preference, what dictates the market. It's as simple as that.
Where do you see the Pepsi at the moment? Is that something that's moved much recently?
No, not so much. I would say potentially because of the price, between 15, 17, 18 for maybe brand new fresh ones, which there isn't many around. I would probably say we've sold slightly less in the last month or so than what we would have done normally. The Jubilee, as always, would always sell more than the Oyster.
Yeah.
It's just more in demand. It's slightly tapered off, but.
And then if we look at the other end of the Rolex market, like the Platinum Daytona, the new reference that is with the open case back, the plain dial, the baguette diamond dial, where do you see those price-wise in the market at the moment? And has that moved in the last 3 months?
Probably, maybe slightly, but there's always deals to be had. And again, it goes back to when the watches are released or whenever they are available from the AD. Someone's purchased one. And if they decide they want to make a small profit, they're interested in just getting rid of the watch and making a...
Do you think that watch will ever go... Do you ever see it under retail the future?
We do have one under retail.
Is that a plain dial?
A plain dial.
Right.
But it's the 116509.
So the previous reference?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's without paperwork.
Right, okay. I see. Because I know like years ago, you could actually pick up Platinum Daytonas under retail price, and then they just went crazy in popularity.
Again, it's just the market demand. We're in the current market, 2024, and just that's the way it is. So the new reference, 1-2 reference Platinum Daytona is probably, as a ballpark figure, available which dial you're choosing, diamond or plain, between 80 to 100,000.
Have you seen any differences in customer selling preferences? So this is when somebody calls up, are they looking for an outright purchase? Are they looking for a consignment sale? And is the ratio between those changed at all?
Probably very similar. Over the last 3 to 6 months, we do try and educate our clients as best as possible. You know, the people who haven't dealt with us before or maybe are not so regular buyers or sellers of watches may not be aware of the potential benefit of consigning a watch, where they receive an uplift on the price that way. We'll just offer both options. But yeah, maybe we are seeing slightly more people preferring the outright purchase route. Maybe they have not so much a need for the cash, or maybe they just prefer to have the cash in the bank and prefer to wait. But I will say majority of our consignments, we're probably talking more than 80%, will sell within a 30-day period. Yeah. If they haven't.
Yeah, it's either like going to be that it's a bit of an unusual watch, or that the price just isn't quite right.
Yeah, so we'll just have to reevaluate the current market price, and which is something which we discussed that we do on a daily basis, and whether it has come down a touch or whatever it might be, discuss it with the client and just move forward on that basis.
To round this off, can you name 3 watches for 3 different budgets that present good value in the market right now? And I'm going to start you off with a £5,000 budget. Up to £5,000. What watch do you think presents good value?
So I'll just go personal preference. Maybe potentially a Speedmaster.
Yeah, the Moon watch from Omega. I think you will get current generation. You might, if you get a really good deal, get a Hesselite one.
Yeah, I think so. We do try and buy whatever we get offered of these sort of models at a fair price, because they do sell straight away.
Yeah, you don't hang around.
It's definitely, around that sort of budget, top pick. My opinion, potentially Cartier Santos.
Yeah, white dial.
Large size, white dial, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's been a little bit of a trend towards the slightly smaller ones of those as well.
Yeah. For me, I would prefer to go with something like that over a 36mm Datejust. Yeah.
Well, it wears a little bit bigger because of the square shape. So it's going to be a little bit more substantial on the wrist. Okay, so 15K budget.
15K budget.
Yeah.
I would go with the classic 116520 stainless steel Daytona. Okay. I don't think that can, for that sort of price point, I think you're probably picking up a nice black dial.
Yeah.
Steel Daytona. That would be my personal preference, is in and around 15,000.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who still prefer the steel bezel as opposed to the ceramic. I think it's just, it does have a very timeless look.
Rolex-wise, if you prefer a larger watch, there's some deals to be had in the Sky Dweller, in and around that. Steel and gold and steel. So Sky Dweller's an option. But for me, I would go with the non-ceramic
and then
Daytona.
if you could spend up to 50k?
50k budget, so going under that 50k budget, going with a classic, stealthy looking meteorite GMT.
White gold, I like it.
In white gold.
Yeah. How much would that set you back?
Ooh, 40 to 50, depending.
Right. Okay.
But a banging watch.
Very rare.
Very rare. Really, really sought after.
Yeah.
Different watch. You know, if you see that on someone's wrist, you always, oh, it's a nice watch, that.
Yeah.
It's always the first thought in your head. If you're pushing, if we maybe go above, I'll give a few options. If we maybe scrap the 50 and go slightly above, what I think is good value in the market, if you can find one, you're probably 50 to 60. I'm always a fan of the Daytona Oyster Flex. So if you could grab a meteorite dial one.
That's a great watch. I think that it's a watch where the rose gold, the yellow gold, the white gold,
I would love to have all three. I wish I was
so good.
I wish I was rich enough just to have all three. It would definitely be.
Every time one comes in a different metal, I think, oh, that's the best one. And then I see a different one. I think, oh, no, I think they all look great. So really, really works. And then I think we were talking about the day date, right? The anniversary rose day date.
Again, I think at a great price point. If we're discussing the difference between the brand new retail price and what the watch can be bought for now and what it was previously going back.
So what is the retail on
24 months?
On a day rose gold olive dial, is it 35-ish? 37.8?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah, so I'm guessing then you can get that less than retail price if you get a one.
Yeah, so it goes back to one of your first questions, Harry, when you were talking about how many unworn 2024 watches are in the market. So if someone's buying that at 37,800, that watch will probably sell in the market for around 40k, ballpark figure, 42,000. But in my opinion, pick up a 2022, 2023, I'm sure they're going to be available for 37,000 ballpark. Go even earlier. I think the watch came out in 2018. You know, you're going to be talking low 30s for that watch. And I think, in my opinion, it's a great watch. Well, it's a great watch for 30 to 35,000 budget.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly the same model. It's exactly the same in every way. It's just a different year on the card. So
again, you don't wear the card.
No,
nobody knows the difference of the year of the watch, and it's when you come to sell it, it's relative.
Yeah, of course. You
it's
paid
relative.
less, you get less. You know, it's the same, isn't it? So
yeah, I'll go with those two.
All right, we will wrap that up there. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to help us get to that 100k.
Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.